I am Tori Devon Smith. I am a cisgender male, pronoun he, him, and I am a gay man. To be Black right now, sort of in this moment in America, is sort of a very sort of charged issue. But I think to be Black is to be, for me anyway, it's always great.
And I'm a gamer, so I often use like gaming references, but it's like creating your character, but that character's experience is going to be on hard mode. Like, this life as a Black person is not an easy one, but it sure is a hell of a lot of fun. And the rewards are really plentiful. Like when I walk down the street and I see a Black person, we've got that nod that shows like, hey, I see you. We've got the shared experience. And I might not know you, I might not know your journey, but I can empathize with a lot of it. And we can sit down together and feel like we've got community because we share this Black heritage and this Black culture.
I think that's a hard question because I don't know any other being. I don't feel like I don't feel like being Black has been to my disadvantage. I think being Black causes me to focus on our Black community, especially Black men. I have a brother. He happens to be a police officer, so I don't have the same concerns about him that I have for other Black men, for some of the sons of my friends. I think in a lot of ways I've been fortunate. You know, I've never applied for a job that I didn't get. I went to private school. My parents were, they weren't strict, but they kind of, they really controlled our activities. They always knew where we were and what we were doing. So I never got into any kind of trouble. You know, but I think being Black means that I have concerns that maybe that white people don't have about other people that I love being safe out in this world and out in this community.
Being Black means being very, being proud, being honorable, showing character, being a person of goodwill, and being more than anything, I think being a good friend to others, and being a good ambassador for Black males, because Black males, if you look globally, we don't have the best reputation. Okay, we're deadbeat dads, we're criminals, we're this, we're that. So I feel like I have to be an ambassador to combat a lot of the stereotypes that we've seen in media, in television, and in the you know, the global landscape. I think a lot of that's changing now with this movement. Thank God. I think people are waking up, and I think there's an appetite right now to learn what's going on with African Americans, Blacks in America, and I think that's a good thing. It's all a part of our history, but I think that some of it, you know, the violent part of it, you know, the looting. I don't, obviously being a law enforcement, I don't agree with that, but I guess from what some of the scholars say, sometimes you need that to make things really move, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but that's what's happening and things are moving. So be it. And the conversation has started. So that's about it. Being an ambassador, you know.
Ooh, the struggle is real. Ooh, no. Being Black means to me, definitely the struggle is real, but being Black to me means that I feel like if the struggle is real was a person, it would be Black. But struggle is not a bad thing, because we are the only race that to me has went through the pain we went through, but has produced so much purpose. You know, I mean, it's like they'll put us in a position to kill each other, and we'd take whatever we were doing to kill each other. Once we catch on, we'd make a game out of it, or we're so creative. You know, I mean, the gospel music and jazz and the blues all was created, you know, out of us doing work on farms and sharecropping. And so, you know, hip hop was the music of the streets. And so even though they put us in these conditions full of crack cocaine and, you know, taking the father out the home and putting the mama on dope and prostituting our mothers, you know, we were able to create music based on that condition. And you got many people who were able to rap about their conditions, which ultimately generated money for them to now change the conditions of their situations. And so it's like they give us glass, but they give us glass in a bag. And we take that glass pick it up and we make murals and we make paintings and we make abstract art. And so it's like we're so creative. So to me, being Black is just the fact that we take a struggle that is real, but in that real struggle, we make real inventions. We make real, galleries. We make real movement. It's like, you can't stop us. You can give us dog crap. We're going to make some creative out of that dog crap. That's how we roll, and I think so. To me, being Black is beautiful because we're told on a daily, by our enemy that we're not beautiful. And so we learn how to make anything that's negative, make it a positive. Even the N-word, not a fan of the N-word at all, but for Black folks to say, oh, it's a positive now, that's our innocence of our mentality. It's also ignorant, but it's also that genuine heart we have for us that we're determined to make anything negative a positive. That's why it's hard to break that word, because that's just a Black characteristic that no matter what the struggle looks like, we're going to make the best out of a negative situation. Unfortunately, we hold on to the wrong things, but we learn to take that negative and make it positive.
My whole life, I have identified as being mixed, and I always push the no, I'm half and half. I'm Dutch, Indonesian, and African American. And I've learned more about like my European culture and my Indonesian culture. My dad's a musician, and he's an Afro-Latin musician. So I've looked into it. I've kind of meandered through the Afro-Latin world in my lifetime, but it wasn't until the last 5 years where I've really started to look into my African roots and my heritage. I've started playing more music and listening to the stories that my dad shared. It's taken on a connection to my ancestry and to my father and to that side of the family. And in terms of family history, right, it's like we're strong on my dad's side. It's their strong Black family. We're going to hold our head high because that's what we've had to do. I went to Africa for the first time this year. I went to South Africa. I mean, there really is just something about being at the motherland, and like seeing so many brown people, and seeing words written in different African languages and like seeing them alongside European languages and like seeing these cultures mesh together. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal.
Being Black, that's a difficult question because my Blackness is interwoven with Latinx roots, and I have a lot of privilege because I'm fair skinned. Blackness to me, you can find it in the joy, in those moments where you're laughing so hard, you're like, when you're in the middle of some sort of crazy dance thing and they're like, hey, hey. It's incomprehensible. It's not a tangible thing. It's ethereal, right? Being Blackness for me is golden. Blackness for me makes me feel empowered. Blackness for me is connectivity with those around me who share in my struggle and who can commiserate in my sorrows. People that will uplift me, I think the most safe I ever feel or like loved I ever feel is when I am like on the bus and there's this like older Black woman and she's like, oh baby, how you doing? And I'm just like, I'm so good. I'm doing so well. Just because you asked me.
Pride is being unapologetically yourself and not being scared to display that to the world. Pride is not feeling like you have to edit yourself or limit yourself or censor yourself so that, your actual existence isn't offensive to the world. Because how can somebody's existence be offensive when it's just who they truly are?
I think I related to being unapologetic in who you are and what you are, and not having to apologize for the way that my hair looks or, you know, my skin tone. Or, we have several gay members in our family, and it was always something that wasn't talked about or was hidden. But my dad has a cousin who was one of the first transsexual people in California. And that's not something that my parents talked to me about. And then he was gone for about 2 years, and then he came back after his sex change operation, and he went from one name to another. And because he was always such a kind and loving person in my life, it made no difference to me. I didn't even question it. It's just like, this is who she is now.
We're in a transitional spot because for me growing up, I was born after the worst of the AIDS crisis by the time I was born. And by the time I was growing up, it was a chronic illness like it is now. And now we can treat it in ways that would have been impossible just 30, 40 years ago. I feel like a big element of what Pride was in the 80s and before that in the 70s, it was just, we're here, we exist, and we're not going to hide anymore. In the early 2000s, and when I was in school, it was, gay marriage. But now I feel, for the most part, even though there's still like a mountain of issues that still need to be dealt with, particularly recognizing the T in LGBTQ+, like Pride is a like massive block party. And in my experience with some of the Pride events I've been to, it's kind of like Christmas. It's like everyone's happy and joyful and, cheer to your fellow queer person. But for the rest of the year, it's like it never happened. It's like you still see the worst. So for me, Pride is really just recognizing that community atmosphere. And it's only when all members of the community, whether they're Black or trans or both, until we're all accepted, until we can all just be in the community and be recognized, and we stow all the crap that's hurting us, that's literally killing us, we don't have that community aspect. And until we get that, it's like Pride will just be another big block party.
I want to see, I know I may not see this, but what I want to happen in the world is for us to not have a systematic government that is out to harm Black people. I feel like a lot of people ask all the time when we say defund the government or defund police, what does that mean? Or what are we going to do after? And the answer is nothing, what we've been doing. Because if we don't have the police that were only put in place to keep us systematically chained, if we don't have that in place, we don't need them, because we didn't need them before. They just wanted to say we needed them so they can systematically, legally keep us chained.
I think I would like to see people really get along. I think I really wish I knew the white people that I'm related to.
I would love to see more conversation. When we are able to bridge these gaps of understanding through just honest, genuine approach to the other person with curiosity and that desire to learn more, we can not only understand our communities better, but understand ourselves better. And I think once we do that work of learning and unlearning and understanding other people, we'll be able to be kinder and be more loving, or at the very least be empathetic and let people live.
I would, to the younger generation, I would just tell them to feel good with who you are. don't try to fit in, because at the end of the day, more than likely they're born to stand out. Take your own unique quality and use that as your platform to be yourself, because the things that you think people don't like about you, someone else will love about you.
In school, no. Do not live your life in fear and always share information.
For me, when I think of the younger generation, in a sense, I'm like, no, you should always be who you are. I know that's a very sort of broad term that's used so much, but it's really, really vital to to being as human as you possibly can. How you connect with people, how you are as an artist. Once I came out, really, and it was really sort of a realization, not really of a coming out, because I was in foster care. So I didn't have really a connection to a foster parent to where I needed to come out. It was really to myself. But I became a much better actor. Always be yourself, because it's going to make you live better in the world. You're going to be happier. And now there's just so many options for them to know that it's okay.
So I would say, I'm 59 years old. I'll be 60 in December. And what I would tell the upcoming generations, what I actually tell young kids and nephews and things all along is, and I think there's a pathway that our ancestors kind of carved for us. The type of determination and will and hard work and just grit that most of the African Americans had, that's a boss to me. Hey, I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna have a better life no matter what. Me and my children are gonna have a better life no matter what. So I think that type of grit and that type of determination and that type of those a lot of the principles that they grew up with, the type of budgeting that they had to do, the type of land ownership that they strove for, sometimes gained, sometimes didn't. But I mean, I'm amazed that my grandmother, upon her death, had several $100,000, had several pieces of land, a woman that was born in the early 1900s. So I say that to say, pay attention to the journey that African Americans have had throughout history. That determination that they had, don't lose that. Don't lose that. That was, you still need that. That's it.